Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today's video is going to be based on Midnight Affliction. I'm enjoying Midnight Affliction, but I want to make this video talking about the changes I think Affliction could use to be more exciting and just better to play overall. I feel like it's had a lot of changes over the past few weeks, and honestly, it's gotten a bit, I don't want to say worse, but it's definitely not as fluent as it was in early alpha. I think the better builds of alpha we had were actually in early alpha. So talk about that today. A couple of quick things also I want to mention as well. I forgot to turn the scrolling text off on this screen, but it's up here. See, there's a tree behind me as well. We're doing an event on stream this month. If you guys are interested in coming by and hanging out for that, it is a gifted sub event, a bunch of discounts on subs on the weekend and stuff too, for gifted, all that kind of stuff. But the big thing is, it's a big giveaway for y'all. A bunch of giveaways, store pets, mounts, epic editions, collector editions of Midnight, surprise stuff, Taco Bell food, all kinds of stuff. Merry Christmas. If y'all want to come by and hang out, if you proc a giveaway, we do it right then on stream. At the same time, the 11.2 Warlock Spreadsheet is indeed live on Patreon for those that want it. Turn it off for now. If you guys want early access to that, the tier 3 Belgar rank or higher gets it, but it goes public before the expansion comes out anyway, so you're not missing out if you want to wait on that and everything. But I forgot this text was on. I'm turning it off for this part of the stream video. Now, I think it's best to start off here talking about and just looking at the actual Affliction class or spec tree and looking at a bit of gameplay too. Because like I said, I think the version of Ath that felt the best, at least to me, was probably in later alpha into early beta. We had early alpha still had unstable affliction being capped at 5 stacks, which I think is good to be removed. We need to keep that around so it can be unlimited stack count. A lot of talents like fatal echoes, cloying power was around too, which didn't really affect like max stack of UA or whatever, but fatal echoes, shard instability, things like seeds giving you free shard instabilities as well to cast quite often in your opener. Also with Dark Harvest generating shards for Soul Harvester and things, you would hit the 5 cap limit of unstable affliction early on, and it made it so, okay, I'm sitting on 3 or 4 or 5 shards, I'm capped, and I cast my Dark Lair and my Dark Harvest, my UAs are active for half a minute, I'm capped on shards. What do I do? Great question. So obviously there's an issue with the gameplay there rotationally, right? Now, things did end up changing. They removed the cap on unstable affliction, which has made things a lot better. If I have 6 or 7 effects or shards to roll UAs with, I can roll them all, and it will stack to 6 or 7. That solved the issue of needing to track individual UAs with Cascading Calamity in a sense as well, which is here. Fatal Echoes can refresh agonies or UAs and things as well. I believe this is only working with like the last iteration of UA you have active, which is weird. It needs to be looked at there anyways. But if you have multiple shard instability procs, you don't gotta hold them forever and overcap. It feels better not having a cap on unstable affliction. When it comes to actual gameplay though, we've had a shift away over the past few weeks of a shift away from dot extensions. Dark Harvest, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago was shifted away from extending dots, and it now just does damage. And it has this little tag on here as well that reduces the cooldown of Dark Harvest whenever you cast Seed or UA. This week, UA was added to it. Feels good. Probably tweak this more as well. But I'm a bit concerned with Affliction, the way it feels, and quality of life. And that all revolves around Dark Glare, Dark Harvest, dot extensions, the changes to Malefic Grasp, and the tuning that came to dots over the past week or two. I'm trying to pull up logs on the side over here as well because I forgot to pull them up. If I can find them, great. If not, well, we'll deal with it. But I digress. It's gotten to a point where I think the older versions of Affliction that we had in Alpha and later Beta actually feel a little bit better. Now, we'll start, I guess, with UA stuff because we're already talking about it a bit. The changes to Dark Lair. So for those who don't know, Dark Lair does not extend your dots anymore. Dark Lair increases your dot damage, but your dots that are active, I should say, by 20%, while Dark Lair is active. So instead of opening up and, you know, casting my Agony and my Wither and everything and rolling 5 UAs before I Dark Lair to however many you want, and then hitting Dark Lair and extending all these UAs, you actually don't want to UA at all before Dark Lair. You want to cast your Dark Lair basically right after Agony and Corruption, or Wither, and once Dark Lair is active, then roll your UAs. So you have the max uptime on the Dark Lair 20% damage effect, which is different from the gameplay we've had for a long time. I wanted to play with it in raid testing at M+ and feel it out a bit before I pass judgment on it. I think it's worse than the extension gameplay we had. Now, Bliss has mentioned a lot about wanting to not have pooling resources and pooling windows, damage windows for Affliction and dot-based classes. I think it's very tough with any version of UA or of Affliction, whether it's Rapture based, UA based. I think it's tough for most classes in general, unless you're like a BM hunter that has cooldowns all the time and your damage profile is this, a flat line the whole time. And honestly, that gameplay's sort of boring in the first place, just being honest. Also not very effective in a lot of scenarios, unless you're in like M plus and you're overtuned, which BMs have the time anyways. Regardless, the change to Dark Lair makes things a bit awkward. I'm going to try and get out of combat here to show like a typical opener and stuff. I might have to relog because testing is great. So I think it's a bit of a step back. Now, it's a bit of a step back quality life-wise as well as just general gameplay-wise. Because whenever I Dark Lair, I also have my Malefic Grasp proccing, which is tied to Dark Lair. This change was made about a month ago, I think. Grasp is not like a freestanding thing anymore. It doesn't. It's only active when Dark Lair is active. It doesn't proc through Nightfall anymore, which I think I like the older version of Grasp more. I definitely like it a lot more than the one we have right now if Dark Lair is not extending dots. Because if Dark Lair is not extending dots, I want to be able to like cast Dark Lair and plant and drain with Grasp, and also that makes gameplay pretty stationary where I have to like stand still. But now I have to cast my Dark Lair, find time to roll all my UAs, then also just stand still with cement shoes on and Grasp the whole time. At the same time, I have my Agony falling. That doesn't extend with Dark Lair anymore. If I'm playing Siphon Life, my Wither's falling. Doesn't extend with Dark Lair anymore. And my Haunt's falling. It feels really weird because Dark Lair doesn't extend anymore. Dark Harvest has been changed, not extended anymore. And I'm standing still trying to grasp as much as I can. But if I got to move for a mechanic, I can't roll my UAs for their dot duration or dot damage increase because with Dark Lair, they're not extended anymore. I can't channel Dark Harvest for extension anymore, and I also want to plant with Malefic Grasp, but I can. But if any mechanic happens, I got to move. And that's like a large loss of damage because my damage is baked into that window. Even with trying to shift away from extensions on UA being a thing, we're still in that window of I'm still pooling shards for Dark Lair all the same. I don't think it's very realistic to try and get away from that. It's just how it's designed. And I get that maybe they don't want that, but I think it's hard to design a spec like that. And if we're going to make those changes, there's a lot of changes you got to make to AF, and we're in mid-beta at this point. I think changing Dark Lair back to having UA extensions would make that a good bit better. Now, the question is, at least to me, is how... What are the reasons why we don't want shard pooling? I'm trying to find my logs here from this Bellerin testing. Why don't we want shard pooling? Like for UA and things in general. And I think, honestly, like one of the bigger reasons might just straight up be the fact that it's hard to tune Affliction when we don't have... a limit, a stat count, a max stat count on UA, with things like shard instability, with things like fatal echoes, with things like just seeds proccing more shard instabilities. You can quite often roll past 5 UAs exceptionally easily, and then hit your Dark Lair, extend the 7-ish, 8-ish UAs, and then hit Dark Harvest with your old dot extension form, and have 7 or 8 UAs rolling for 20 plus seconds. And yes, that's excessive, and that makes it exceptionally hard to tune. If that's the real reason we're trying to get away from that, fully understandable. I get it. I agree. I am totally down for a world if we bring back Dark Lair extensions and revert the change from last week. But I'm totally down to cap Dark Lair's UA extension at 5. Like if that's what we have to do, that's a-okay. Is it fully optimal? Not 100%, but I think it's more than fine. UA itself was capped at 5 for a long time, and it played fine for the most part in BFA because we didn't have things giving us extra UAs all the time, right? You had Deathbolt playstyle, all that. You didn't have Dark Harvest, but I think if that is a concern, we can come in and say Dark Lair once again extends dots, Agony, Corruption, Wither extended, and it extends a max of 5 UAs. That's fine. It still gives the quality of life in the opener. I don't go into a boss and I precast my Haunt, then go Agony, Wither, Dark Glare, hit my trinkets, whatever, Malevolence, and then try to roll my UAs. And when I'm done rolling UAs here, let's say I had Grasp talented, I don't. I'm looking to channel Grasp now. I can channel a Grasp or two. My Agony's falling, Wither's falling in 3, Haunt's falling. I don't have extensions for anything here. And it's like, well, I want to channel Grasp, but my Agony's falling, and now my Wither's falling, and now my UAs are gone because I'm refreshing Agony and Wither in my UA window, and my Grasp is falling. Oh, here's a mechanic. I got to move. Oh, no. It feels really convoluted. I say this from a place of passion, where like there's definitely a better quality of life and a better functional version of AF here during Dark Glare. Now, I mean, outside of Dark Glare, like you're just rolling UAs a good bit. Either way, we're not in a world with our current shard economy where we're really pooling UAs a whole lot. I mean, or shards. So you'll pool a bit for your Dark Glare and such, but like you have enough shard economy where you're just rolling UAs for the most part, anyways. Cascading Calamity isn't a big concern. If you've seen Soul Harvester gameplay, you have 3 shards from Dark Harvest and Shadow of Death every 15 seconds or whatever. It's crazy. You have a million UAs to roll. It isn't like that big of a deal, but you're going to pool regardless. But it doesn't feel like it's very fluid gameplay with the Dark Glare changes. So I'm definitely down. I think, honestly, like I wouldn't even be against getting away from every lock spec needs a demon major cooldown. Destro with Infernal feels solid. Infernal fits Destro. Tyrant fits Demo. I don't think Dark Glare fits AF exceptionally well. It's fine, and you can have anything like that, just increase dot damage. Sure, it's fine. You can have other abilities. You can give the Warlock Dark Harvest back. You can have Dark Harvest or Soul Harvest, whatever it was. The 2-minute cooldown. The minute cooldown, they gave us haste and things in the past. The bigger Malevolence, whatever. Dark Harvest, something like that. Whatever it's called. What was it called? Soul Harvest. I don't even remember. But it doesn't need to be Dark Glare anymore. But I'm worried that we're losing a lot of quality of life with UA extensions being removed from Dark Glare. With Malefic Grasp now being tied to Dark Glare. You gotta just plant for the whole 25-second duration of Dark Glare, because it's 20 plus 5 with eye contract, right? It lasts a very long time. There's no fight in the history of this game where I'm standing still for half a minute. It's not happening. With Dark Harvest losing its extension clause as well, you're not playing. I don't think you're playing this as Hellcaller anywhere. The extension clause of Harvest felt really good. You go into M+, you cast a Seed, put out some Agonies, then you could Harvest, and it would extend all the dots you had active so you could then cast more Seeds. That kind of playstyle felt really good. It felt like the spec was built really, really well. But now Dark Harvest is some weird button where you hit, which is like, it does some damage, the cooldown's reduced. I don't know. The healing part of it's irrelevant. This is how like old Soul Rot was with Drain Life. It never did anything. The healing doesn't matter. You can just, I mean, it does some healing, I'm sure, somewhere, but it doesn't really matter much, right? Like, I'm concerned about the quality of life. And if the internal concern is like UA stacks past 5 is too hard to tune, then cap the abilities extension clause at like 5 for Dark Glare, like 5 UAs cap for Dark Glare. It's fine. You can cap Dark Harvest at 3 for UA extensions. It'll extend a max of 3 UAs, but have them still extend a certain amount of UAs. Have them extend Agony and Corruption or Wither as well. If you want, you can also totally just cap Malefic Grasp, like dot contribution or like dot flare up. What's this thing at there? To like 5 UAs at total. So if you have 8 UAs rolling in your opener, well, whenever you grasp, it's going to flare up 5 of them. That's fine. That's a-okay. But I think we're trying, if that is the actual issue, I think we're trying to like move away. We're trying to fix something that is like, it's just hurting the quality of life and the overall fluidity of the spec. I think when we had capped UA during Alpha, I think it's the best version of spec we had. When we had Dark Glare extensions and Dark Harvest, or whenever we uncapped UA early on, when Dark Harvest extended dots, when we had Dark Glare extending dots, right? The quality of life was there. It felt really good. I was pumped to play AF. I'm still excited to play AF now, but the Dark Glare changes and even like the grasp changes. I want like Grasp is sick, but I want Malefic Grasp more often. I don't want it just tied to my Dark Glare for 2 minutes. I want like a separate button, like a different button I can hit, or have it like empower, have it just proc again randomly. Like if we don't want Grasp to be a random proc, like because you're pooling UAs for Grasp procs with Nightball in a sense, that sort of makes sense, I suppose. But I think there's other ways you can make that work. You can make Malefic Grasp a button. We could, realistically. We just make it a button you hit maybe every half minute or minute or so. And yeah, you'd still pool around it a bit, but like, I don't think we can get away from pooling. There's too many abilities in the game for most classes in general that just, hey, stacking CDs together makes sense, right? Stack multiple UAs with Malevolence for the additional stack of Wither, or for Dark Glare for the extra dot damage, or for Dark Harvest with the old extensions. It just makes sense, right? I think at a certain point, like, yeah, okay, if that's the damage profile we want, we need to think, is it like super realistic to do? Can we do it realistically without hurting the spec's fluidity too much? I don't think the answer with this current version of AF is yes. I think we need Dark Lair extensions back. I think Dark Harvest, I'd love Dark Harvest extension back. I don't think it's going to get it. But baseline, I think we definitely need Dark Lair extensions back, or just you can get rid of Dark Lair and just give us some other button to hit. You can make this, I don't know, honestly, if you made this Malefic Grasp on like a minute cooldown, or I don't know, you could spin it some way where you had a button like Grasp that you hit and it would like mash channel Malefic Grasp on like every target that has dots on it that extends all the dots and causes them to flare up, sort of how like Rapid Contagion was in PvP. That'd be cool, actually. You can get Dark Lair out of here. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Make this like, you can make this Malefic Grasp. Put this here, build upon Grasp with like, I don't know, have like this be Grasp, this be like Malefic Grasp, now AoEs onto all targets with dots, and make this like something else that's cool with the Grasp, right? If you want to keep Dark Lair functionality and Dark Lair around for the demons for specs, it's fine too. But point being, there's a lot of ways to spin this where I think it's pretty, where it improves AF's fluidity a lot. The extensions are very important to AF and dot classes in general. Maintenance classes, or dot classes, are already in a rough spot compared to most other classes heading into midnight at this point, with boss frames being the way they are, no pandemic on nameplates and stuff, and having those extensions, and those extensions I know are going to be happening whenever I hit my Dark Lair, whenever I hit my Dark Harvest or whatever, is very important. And I want this version of AF to be really fun and exciting, and I think it's a very, very good tree and a good design for UAF. I think the changes to Dark Lair and Dark Harvest are a little rough and probably not where we want to be. I'm down for experimentation with like changing CDs and the way things flow, but between Malefic Grasp causing us to plant for essentially half a minute, or trying to get max value out of it, Dark Lair losing UA extensions, Dark Harvest being changed to no extensions, and the nerfs to UA, Agony, and Wither, I think the spec has become less exciting to play with like the, once again, extensions being removed, all that kind of stuff, and dot damage being brought down. Also, Dark Lair, even with the large, with the buffs to Dark Lair's damage, but the nerfs to how much it does per dot active, it really doesn't do very much at all right now either, even with like Nether Plating and Malefic Grass, or with Nether Plating and Eye Contract and stuff as well. So I think AF in general needs a buff also. I'm trying to pull up logs over here from Ray Testing. Let's see if I can find them really fast, actually. Yeah, so here are my logs from Chimeras, the Undreamt God. Now, this is a single target fight, this is a AoE fight as well, but I've made it only Chimeras damage. This is playing Soul Harvester. I have Hellcaller, I think, in a minute here as well. Corruption damage is 4%. That's below my Demonic Soul, below Shadowed Nathriza, below Soul Nath, it's below Haunt. It's way below Dark Lair. Agony is 9%. There's an OP trinket now. Echo the Evercurse. Whatever. It is what it is. UA for Soul Harvester is relatively high. 22%. If you remove this thing, it's probably like 25, 10.5, and like 5.5. But like, it's basically there with Shadow Bolt. And whether you're playing Soul Harvester or Hellcaller, Corruption should be higher than this. I think our dots should indeed be doing more damage, right? I think I have a Hellcaller pull in here somewhere as well, where I swapped to, and I was like, oh, Hellcaller is just better. It just feels better. Once again, next pull, 6.5, 6 points. Soul Anathema is higher. Agony's double. Dark Lair's up here. It's also in my opener. We're dying so early here, to clarify. Like, pretty fast wipe, but I'm trying to find a longer one here. Is Hellcaller still Soul Harvester? I'm okay. Thank you. Here, maybe? I think I swapped to F, or to Destro here. I think I did. I played Hellcaller at some point somewhere in here. Wither was higher, basically, and here's Demo. Obviously, it was bugged, but Wither was a good bit higher. I don't know where it actually is in logs. I played it somewhere. But either way, it does just sort of feel like we're shifting a bit away from dots and like quality of life for AF again. I'm a little concerned. Here we go. It's right here. Wither's doing 17%, UA is 25. Like, this breakdown seems fine, because this trinket wouldn't be here. It's overtuned to get nerfed. It's like UA, Wither, Agony. But I wouldn't mind seeing Agony even higher than this, like 18%, 20%, 25%. But at the same time, it's still hard to tune around like dots being the main source of damage in a single target and not losing a lot of value in 2 target and 3 target. But I think UA as a whole, or AF as a whole, like with the nerfs that came into UA and the additional UA nerfs and things, was indeed over nerfed a bit. It feels like it's doing pretty subpar damage. I don't think Wither should be as close to UA, being our main spender at this point for Hellcaller. And for Soul Harvester, Corruption's way too low. So I think we need to come in and look at buffing Affliction again. But I also think if we make the changes to Dark Lair and revert back to the extensions being a thing and all that, that will also just help UA damage regardless, because you're extending UA, you're having it do more damage. It probably needs buffs in the first place anyways, but I don't, to summarize all this, because I've been rambling for a while, this is more of a feels kind of video, because I want things to like just feel good for this spec. I get their reasoning behind trying to shift away from like pooling windows, but with Dark Lair being a thing, the way it's been for a very long time, and how much it's improved the quality of life for Affliction during CDs, especially even more so now with Malefic Grasp and things, I don't think it's super realistic to try and move away from all that by removing extensions from Dark Lair, from Dark Harvest, changing Malefic Grasp to be tied to Dark Lair, and keep the same level of quality of life. Like my opener feeling like this, my opener feels awkward when I have to go Haunt, Agony, like Corruption is fine. Then I just Dark Lair, it feels weird, but I'll get used to it. But then I have to go like UA, I have Malevolence for us, whatever. But then like, I'm trying to like grasp here, but I gotta catch my Agony because it's falling now. And then I gotta catch my Wither because it's falling now. I gotta catch my Haunt. And I'm losing all this value because I have no Agony extension and no Wither extension and no UA extension in my Dark Lair window. But I'm trying to grasp at that point. But I can't, my dots are falling. And when I finish refreshing those dots, all the UAs that I rolled, they're gone because they have no extension anymore. I think we need to go back to the Dark Lair extensions. I love Dark Harvest to have an extension clause back on it too. But maybe we look at capping the max number of dots it can extend. Like extend Agonies, extend Withers, on everything doesn't matter. When it comes to UA, maybe you cap it to 5 UAs max, whether it's across 1 target or 1 million targets. It extends all Agonies, all Withers, both for Dark Lair and Dark Harvest, and like a max of 5 UAs. And that's fine. You can tune around that. So in your opener, if you have like a million UAs active, you can go like this, you can do whatever. You know, you catch your Haunt, your dots, whatever. Then like you roll 1, 2, 3, 4, a fifth UA, then you Dark Lair. It extends those 5. And if I go like 6th UA here, 6th UA, 7th UA, those 2 that I put on, number 6 and 7, are a normal duration UA. And I can use those to maybe drain Malefic Grasp to get a bit more value out of 6 or 7 UAs rolling if they want. But I'm not worried about having to refresh dots the moment I finish rolling my dots in my opener. I'm trying to Malefic Grasp as well. It's just sort of convoluted. And I want it to feel better. I want it to feel good. I'm still a big fan of this version of AF. But I know for a fact I enjoyed it a lot more during Alpha, later Alpha, and early Beta, before we lost extensions. Definitely before we lost Dark Lair extensions. So if there's any possible world we can look at going back to that, I think we do it. And then go from there. Because honestly, it just feels like Grasp being tied to Dark Lair with no extensions and no extension here, but it's bringing a lot of shards onto Soul Harvester and onto Hellcaller. It feels like we have a lot of different ideas here that don't really mesh very well, but we had a really good set of ideas that meshed perfectly during Alpha and later Alpha and early Beta. Now we're trying to change things, but it might be too late to change things as well. We're getting into mid-Beta. Raid testing is over. We're done with the raid unless we test again. The holidays are around the corner. We're closer than it seems. And I think we had a really good set of ideas in Alpha and like with Dark Lair and Dark Harvest and Malefic Grasp and everything. And we're trying to change things that just don't really make quality of life any better. And changing it affects this, and it affects this, and we're sort of getting a bit fragmented with quality of life. That's what I'm concerned about. We're finally back to UAF. I want to spec to crank. I want it to be fun. And it was great during early Alpha, and great during early Beta, but now it's like, I'm taking some steps back here, and I'm excited for it, but I'm like, I felt what it can be, which is not what it is now. Let's go back to being even more exciting, right? Also buff AF. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was a little different turning us off. It was a little different than usual. A bit rambly, but like I felt the passion tonight. I just want AF to be fun. And like I think this version is fun, but it was even more exciting and more enjoyable a few weeks ago. Or month and a half ago. And I really think that it's just very hard to get away from pooling in current WoW. You have so many CDs, even for AF. You have Dark Harvest and Malevolence and Dark Lair. I don't think it's exceptionally realistic. Honestly, even if you can get away from it, I don't want to play a BM hunter when they have cooldowns all the time. When you have cooldowns all the time, it feels like you don't have any. Like, I like the profiles that have like these peaks and valleys. When I have a flat line, I played that for a few patches with Demo. It's boring, right? It's not as fun, right? Dark Lair extensions, even Dark Harvest extensions, all that feel good. It's quality of life, and it helps build upon what the spec is. It's based around UA being your spender. Let's spend shards, put them up, buff them, extend the duration, make them hit harder. That's what we want, right? So if there's any way we can bring that back or consider it, I really think we should, because, man, it felt a lot better to play. After playing it in Plus and rating, I waited a week to test it out myself. Didn't want to pass judgment early, but now I know I had more fun before. So if we can do that, consider it Blizz, that'd be phenomenal. But yeah, so that's that. Thanks for watching, guys. Like always, a huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon for all support, y'all. Like always, thank you all a million times. I greatly appreciate it. Much love. Let's keep doing what I'm doing for y'all, making videos and rambling about Affliction Warlock at 3:15 in the morning. Otherwise, I'd be in bed. So I appreciate y'all. We should have the second video coming out for the remaining 3 bosses of Mythic raid testing, probably the day after this video comes out. I want to get this out early, like on Monday. If there's somebody at Blizz watching the video, phenomenal. But I want it out on Monday. If they don't, that's okay. I love them all the same. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. GG, GN, and I'll see you later.